You're the only modern era GM to win a championship for the Rangers, and that's just one cup in over 80 years. I mean, everyone has to wrap their heads. One cup, one man did it, and that's you. So I don't think there's anybody better to ask this question to. But why do you think it's so hard to win a Stanley Cup in New York?
Well, it's there's all these different eras that have been in New York, right? ERA,
Yep.
eras that have been in New York, and different ownership groups, everything from Gulf and Western, let's say, what I remember back to Paramount, to ITT, and then Cablevision, and now the Dolans, and everybody has their own vision for something that they own, of how it should be done. And I think at the end of the day that there are so many distractions in New York, and that franchise has never really, except for the time that I was there, some of the years that I was there in the early 90s, they never really allow the hockey guy to be totally the hockey guy. They're interfering with him all the time. And I'm not saying they're doing that now. I have no knowledge of what they're doing now.
Right.
But I believe that the reason we were able to win is because they supported me in what I wanted to do and let me do what I had to do and didn't interfere with it. In fact, if anything, during the 92, 93, 94, they were supportive of what I had to do, and never mind not interfering with it. They were very supportive. So I was lucky. I got left alone. I was president GM and first ever president GM, and allowed to do what I needed to do. I just think there's a lot of answers to that. I think that they don't give management enough time. They don't give management enough stability. If you look at the teams around the National Hockey League that have been successful over long periods of time, not really just a flash in the pan type place. And I don't believe we were a flash in the pan. I think we had 8 good years out of 11.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if you look at the Detroit Red Wings, and the Ilitches own them, and the Ilitches basically, it's a family-owned operation, and they run it, and the focus is on the team and how to win, and totally, there's not a lot of distractions in Detroit to take you away from your mind being on hockey. Edmonton obviously was blessed with all those WHA players to start off with, and that got them into the dynasty that they had. Chicago Blackhawks, when they had the great run there in the 2010 era, they had great high picks, and then when the ownership changed from Mr. Bill Wirtz to Rocky Wirtz, his son, he basically was letting the hockey people run the hockey team and try to win and do what you had to do to try to win. Mr. Wirtz was a businessman who said, like, well, why would I do that? That doesn't make us any more money. That type of thing, which is a business. It's okay because that's a business platform.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you look at other organizations that have been strong, the Colorado Avalanche / Quebec Nordiques, that had great picks but left the management alone. Pierre Lacroix was there for years. There weren't that many distractions to take them off of focus of what they were doing. They weren't getting screamed at every day by an angry fan base. That's the other thing you got to put into this is you have the New York fan base of all the New York teams pays the most money for tickets and merch and concessions of any fan base anywhere. I don't care whether you're talking Knicks, Rangers, Giants, Jets, Yankees, Mets. Everybody there's paying a top dog. What does that mean? You're going to be angry. If I'm paying $10 for a hot dog and $10 for a beer, and I'm also paying $250 for a ticket times 41, you better win. Mm-hmm. Or you better not let me know that you're screwing up and making stupid moves, right? And they're New York will voice their opinion to you, and it is threatening, and it can be intimidating and can make you want to hurry up when maybe you shouldn't be trying to hurry up. I think the other thing that's helped modern day Rangers, meaning Jeff Gorton Rangers to Chris Drury Rangers, is the salary cap.
I agree.
Because the salary cap says to the fans, sorry, guys, I can't do it. There's a salary cap. Well, Yager's available, and I'm using this facetiously. Well, I can't get him. I got a salary cap issue.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go get that best player every year. I got to build an organization the way everybody else is doing it to a certain extent. So there's a lot of answers there, Anthony. I haven't given you one.
It's probably not an easy one to answer.
But I will say this to you. At the end of the day, any organization is stewarded by the owner. This goes for business organizations. This goes for philanthropy organizations, you name it. Okay. And so when you look at these organizations, look at their ownership and see what's going on there. And that'll give you some insights into what's going on with their organizations, in my opinion. And that's not casting any aspersions on anyone. That's just saying, the Kroenkes own the Denver Nuggets. I guess they're doing something right. They've got it. I mean, George Steinbrenner had the New York Yankees all those years, and they won on dynasty after dynasty. Well, he was willing to spend anything it took to win, and obviously anything to win. And so you just look at George Steinbrenner. If George Steinbrenner didn't own it, and CBS owned it before George Steinbrenner, they didn't win. But then all of a sudden, so what my point is that the guy at the very top is the guy you should look to ultimately to guide you in the direction you've got to go.
All right, I'll wrap up with this, see if anything's going on. Next year is 30 years. So it's another big milestone. Do you know of any plans for celebrating Rangers? Anything going on for that 30th anniversary with the team?
I don't know of anything going on other than what I'm doing, and that I'm trying to get started on a book.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to sell it on here because I don't even have a name of it. But I am trying to get a book going to have it available for the 30th anniversary. And it won't be talking, Anthony. I don't want to do a book on, because I've been asked to do one for 20 years now.
Okay.
And I haven't done one, and you may wonder, well, why wouldn't you? I mean, you're sort of leaving something on the table. It isn't because I'm afraid to tell the truth. I mean, I'm doing that on here. It's because I don't want it to be about Neil Smith and all these bragging rights that I have to all these things. That's has no interest to me at all. Would I talk about scouting in Russia while it was still under the Iron Curtain, and scouting in Czechoslovakia, and drafting of Kovalev, and what the thoughts were going into that, and so on and so forth? Yes. The strategy that you use, yes. But I don't want to do a self-promoting book. What I would like to do one on is life. What you look at me, and a lot of people just think of this thing behind me, which is glorious, but they don't know my real life. And my real life is involved a lot of opposites of this, a lot of horrible things and bad things, and heartbreaking and grief. And, there's a lot more to it. And it's a struggle for me, and always has been a struggle my whole life, to do whatever I had to do to get to being the GM of the Rangers, to get to being a minor league player who ended up sitting here right now. A kid that got cut from so many minor hockey teams, I can't tell you. And then ended up, with this glorious thing, and ended up in New York, the place that I always wanted to be, that I thought is the greatest, I still do think it's the greatest city on earth. The most famous city in the world, the most famous arena in the world. All of that's all true. But there was a lot of struggles in there, and I want to try to relate to the fans and the people that read it that say, "Oh, geez, I'm the only one that struggles through life. I mean, look at this guy. Wouldn't you love to be him?"
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure that you would. I'm not sure that you would. And I say that very modestly. I'm not sure that you would, because there's a lot more to it than this sign behind me. And I'm very proud of this. I never would want to lose this. But there's been other things that in my personal life have been more important than this. And so that's what I want to write it on, so that I can maybe help other people if they're struggling at some point, that they can be motivated perhaps to continue to try to get through their struggles.
Well, first off, as soon as it comes out, I'll be one of the first people to buy it, and I look forward to reading it. I do want to thank you personally for myself, and on behalf of probably a lot of Ranger fans. Thank you for all your work and your commitment to ending that long Stanley Cup drought. I don't think anyone really thought Sam Rosen's "this one will last a lifetime" would last as long as it has already. But
Yeah.
when he said it, I knew exactly what he meant. And for me, it will last a lifetime. The Rangers could win the cup next year, but that 94 cup will always be something so much different because of what it meant at that time. So I just want to thank you, and I want to thank you for being on the show. And I wish you all the best, Neil.
Thank you so much. And thanks for all the support you've given me over the years.
And I will continue to do so. Thank you.
Okay.